So it takes every bit of energy from morning till night. But, my dear, I have also had many other typical days during the war. Many do not know that I was with the Army at every single one of our military camps, making a home there for the general and our military family. In sometimes very little houses. We had, sometimes people gave us a large house for headquarters, such as the one at Cambridge, but sometimes very little. The one at the Valley of the Forge, I had to put a lean-to kitchen on to be able to cook for the soldiers. And so I had 8 long years in little headquarters houses to have typical days. And then during the long years of the presidency, first in the city of New York and then in Philadelphia, where, by the way, the government yet remains, I had to put up with borrowed homes and try to make them into proper president's houses. It's one of the reasons I fussed at the general when he was planning the new city that he built a permanent house for the president. But now we are returned. Last year, Mr. Adams took the oath. Goodbye, children. And we are returned home again. I face a new situation I have never known before, a new typical day, in that the general, because of my old age, talked me into acquiring now a housekeeper to help me out a little bit. I must admit I didn't really want a housekeeper at first. I said to him, you know, I've been keeping house for 50 years. Are you implying that you think that I am not any longer able to manage? You know? And he was very diplomatic. He said, well, I have an idea. He said, I have heard of this Mrs. Forbes, and she seems a capable person. Why don't we hire her on to help you just for the Christmas? There's so much extra, and then you don't have to keep her on if you don't like. Wasn't that clever of him? Because I found it to be very much of a great help. She is a person of good nature, capabilities, thrift, honesty, and most of all, she knows I still hold the reins, you know, so the habits of a lifetime are never over. I cannot to this day even go to bed unless I've gone out to that kitchen and I see those breads are set to rise. I cannot rest until. Our day always begins early, and I cannot rest. I go out to the kitchen and personally inspect all of the foodstuffs that has been left over from the days before. Anything that isn't spoiled, I'll find a use for, you know. I was brought up to the great old axiom, I hope you young people know it, waste not, want not, don't ever waste. So I make up a nice little breakfast hat of the leftovers. But do you children know what the general likes for his breakfast? He likes the same meal every single day. His 3 mush cakes, or his pancakes, drowning in butter and honey. We sit down to break the fast at 7 sharp, and the general doesn't like anybody to come late to the table, you know. And whilst I'm seeing to what's to be served for that first meal, I've already set about things in preparation for our dinner, which is at this time of day. Generally, if the general were here, we sit down at 3 o'clock for our dinner, and that goes on for quite a while. I have 2 or 3 joints of meat, always a ham on table, you know. Depending upon the season, we pickle, we preserve, we dry, we salt, we cure. We have to be in charge of everything. We make the soap and the dyes and break the flax and spin and weave and card the wool and see that the clothes are sewn from the homespun, and all the doctoring too. I make up potions and poultices and every sort of salves and ointments, and I doctor everybody on the place too. So there's always a lot to greet me every morning, even with the help of a housekeeper. I always say that the Virginia lady's experience, I think, is most, I think, significantly suggested when I would tell you that we are taught to be present when, in the autumn, the beasts are butchered, because we have to make certain that no part of that beast is wasted. But we also have to know how to carve a table to serve our guests and show them hospitality and be elegant in our service at table. So we see everything and have to know everything. I will tell you though, my dear, that all my life I have kept a habit no matter where I have been. My mother taught me early on in my existence that my family would be requiring my strength. And to ensure that, I must, every day, no matter how busy I was, I must take at least 1 hour in my prayers. And so I take usually late morning that hour in prayer. I have a nice easy chair in my bedchamber, and I would credit that hour taken in prayer with that which has allowed me to survive so many losses and tragedies in my life, and has given me the strength to endure the long voyages to the camps, and many times reading from the book of prayer to the soldiers gave them great comfort too. So I'm very glad that my mother gave me that habit of a lifetime. We seldom have much leisure, but after the dinner, especially when it's the spring, I like to sit out on what we call our piazza overlooking the river with our guests. We are very early to bed at Mount Vernon, you know. First of all, boys, the general insists that no person should ever let the sun be up before they are up. He's up at 4. Are you up at 4? And also General Washington says you must all be to bed by 9 o'clock. I have seen him, even when we have the most welcome of visitors, if they are showing no sign that they want to go to bed, he will walk over with a candle and he'll stand before them very hospitably and he'll say, "May I show you to your bed?" So you don't stay up late. Early to bed, early to rise. Other questions that you might have. Welcome to those who come in. I assure you I don't have beginnings, middles, or ends. I've been talking now for 2.5 hours. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't have any need to memorize anything to say. I have a treasure trove of memories to share, and I do so enjoy sharing them. I've always loved company, so I like sharing memories. Yes, young man.
Like when you venture out of this area, don't you like roast?
Make a roast. We roast the beef. So we usually boil the beef.
No, I mean like since it's so hot outside, like do you roast yourself?
Oh, I never think of it that way. You know, when it's warm weather, you don't expect to be cool. We live a part of the natural world, my son. You know, when it is, we use the light when we have the light. We use the growing season when we have the things growing. And when night falls, we are a part of the world. When it's cold, we are cold. That's just the way it is. I don't know. Well, but I suppose that for many at the hearing, you know, I just finished. I do a lot of sewing out here because I don't like to sit usually without it. I just finished making this for my little baby great-granddaughter. She is 2 years of age, little Martha Elizabeth Eleanor. And every little girl has to be straight-laced in her corset by that age. So every lady as I wear a corset and 5 layers of clothes every day. Just the way it is, yes.
Do you guys have like a boat? Would you have a
We have some boats, yes. We have some small boats. And I don't like boats. Oh, I don't like boats. Oh, I was once capsized on the river up to the north. This is our river. I don't know why our visitors pronounce the name of our river Potomac. It's Patamac, that's how we call it. And it's a very, very dangerous river. Now, I was brought up near Williamsburg on the Pamunkey River, and the general was brought up in Fredericksburg on the Rappahannock. And my brothers would swim in our river, and the general would swim in his river. But you don't dare go in this river. This river has very risky currents, very dangerous. You know, I don't think I could ever face a sea voyage which I don't even like to cross the river. But it yields us our fish, you know. Every spring, the general will cast the nets out into the Patamac and haul 1 million herring, and the nets are teeming with fish. He's always said the river is so plentiful with fish out there, he said, why, you can walk on their backs across the river. May it always be so. You know, the general is a great steward of the land. Early on when we were married, he refused to ever grow tobacco. He despises as many have called it, the stinking weed in its use. And of course, tobacco is the worst crop you can ever grow, for it completely depletes and wears out the soil. And the general's whole life has been spent in the creation of new fertilizers and in the practice of rotation crops to enrich and give back to the soil. He is, above every other title, you know, farm of Washington, first, last, and always. So he's always looking sure too. And he always says, when you know nature, when you're a farmer, he knows nature. He's been out to the wilderness country of the Ohio, learned much from the native people whom he respects greatly. That's really the greatest lessons in life you learn from nature. He always says that your actions have a consequence, much as if you were planting seeds with them. He says, if you wish to have an apple orchard, don't plant peach seeds.